Hello students, welcome again to this class of data analytics. So until now what we have studied, we have seen what is data, right? And what is analytics, it's systematic computational analysis of data and statistics. And then we have seen what is univariate statistics, right? And we came across various graphs that we use for the univariate analysis, like frequency distribution table, histograms, bar charts, frequency polygons, or pie charts, right? This was frequency distribution table, and histogram, bar chart, this pie chart. Okay, so we have came across various graphs that are used to study univariate statistics. Then we have seen what is bivariate statistics, right? And what is the degree of relationship among those variables. We have seen what is correlation analysis, what is regression. Okay, then we have studied about the multivariate statistics, right? So up till multivariate statistics we have covered until now. If you are not clear about these concepts, you can refer to the earlier lectures. Okay, so now moving on, we will see our first lecture was on what is data, right? So what was data? Data was the information. Now that information could be collected by various ways. Okay, so it might be possible that the humans are collecting that information. Okay, you might go door to door to collect that information, or you can create a Google form. Okay, or there are many other survey forms there, or many other websites that provide the survey forms. We can do that survey. Okay, and we can also use the sensors to collect the data. There are many sort of sensors in our automobiles, in industries, and all over. You can calculate the temperatures, vibrations data. Okay, all sort of such data can be collected from sensors also. So now what we are going to study now is screening data. Now what is screening? So now we have some questions. What are those? Now we have seen what is data. Now let's say you have collected the data. Okay, my this part is done, that I have collected the data. Now the next question that comes to my mind is it ready for analysis? See, we have studied in the first two lectures, we have studied about the two definitions. First was the data, second was the analytics. That what is analytics? Now there is a lot of process that goes on between these two steps, that is collecting data. See, our first process is collecting the data. Okay, and then we want to perform the analysis on this data. Okay, but the thing is, there is some processing, there is some processing of data that needs to be done. Intermediate, at the mid level, there needs to be some processing so that we can make the data ready for our analysis. Okay, so is it ready for analysis? We have to check for that. Does it need some modification? We need to go through our data and check that whether my data is in good format or I need to do some modifications. Okay, we will see how we will check that. And then we will detect, obviously, if we have seen the data and we find some issues. Okay, I will talk about shortly that what could be those issues. Okay, okay, so first of all, missing data. What is missing data? Now let's say you float a form in the market that, yeah, please fill the survey form. Okay, now everybody is not that much committed for those survey forms, right? Like you might have came across many times that companies take the feedback from your, right, like you for after each customer service call you receive a link that please provide your feedback. Okay, now there is a possibility that you provide it or you may not provide it, or you maybe sometimes what we do, we just fills anything. It's not a good data. You are not providing actual feedback, you type something, any useless thing, and you submit that just to complete the process. Okay, that means that data is not good. What analysis will you perform even if you didn't get the good data? Okay, now another problem could be, now let's say you ask for date of birth. Let's say you are collecting, I am collecting the data from the student in my campus, and I ask the date of birth over there. Now let's say it's, however, it's my mistake. Let's say I forgot to mention that in what format you should provide the data. Okay. Now what will happen? Some students have provided the data in this format. Let's say its birth date is 20 January 1994. Okay. And the another buddy is mentioning the same thing as 20 Jan 1994. Okay. Now somebody could also mention it like Jan 20th 1994. Now see, the thing is, this is also correct, this is also correct, this is also correct. But when we will be performing the analysis, our program will not understand all these formats. We need to standardize this performance. Okay, because if we do not standardize our data, then it's very hard, because when you write a program, you just mention over there that what type of data you are using, in what format the data you are using. Okay, so you need to stick to that, and if your data is not in that format, you will have to modify that data. Okay. Now our first problem is missing data. Now let's say I asked the data about the various students. Now students didn't provide, I didn't make this column compulsory, and some students forgot to provide this data. Some students didn't provide the date of birth, or they keep that column empty. Let's say I plotted the physical forms, I distributed the forms in the class, and some students didn't mention their date of birth. Now what I will do, while when I am performing the analysis, now there is a problem, because data is not present, right? How will I calculate the age of the students? Let's say age is a very important criteria for me while doing the analysis, but student is not providing the age, right? Then how will I do? So in such cases, we do the pre-processing of data. Okay. So now you know what is missing data, the data that is absent. Okay. Now how to handle missing data? Now there are two options how to handle missing data. One is list-wise deletion. What is list-wise deletion? Now list-wise deletion means you are completely removing the record of the person whose data is missing. Okay, let's say I am collecting the data, and there is a student named Rehan, and Rehan have filled his name, okay, his native place, his address, his marks until now. Okay, he's provided everything, but he's forgot to provide the date of birth. Okay, now I have two options over there. One thing is I completely remove Rehan records from my list. Okay, I will remove Rehan, I will not consider anything about Rehan. That is called list wise deletion. Means I have completely removed Rehan's records. I am not taking Rehan into consideration while doing my analysis. But this is not always recommended, or this is not always useful for our cases. It depends on case to case. When you will do in future some sort of these problems, you will realize. But yeah, another scene is that what we might do is we do not delete the record of Rehan. We use the it's not like that Rehan has not provided us any data. He has already provided us lot of things about himself, right? Like from where he belongs, from where he studied, what marks he got in 10th class, what marks he got in 12th class. We can still use that data. Then this deletion is called pairwise deletion. We will handle this data in such a way that we will not use this data where the date of birth is required, but we use its other credentials. Okay, so this is called pairwise deletion. So this is just to make you aware. This topic is to make you aware. It's not like that a lot of questions are going to be asked from you, but this topic is to make you aware that data is not always ready. Even this is the biggest task. There is a lot of data available over the internet, but the main task is to get the good data. Now that refining that you have to do is a very big task and quite important also. Okay, so yeah, okay, so this was about missing data. Okay, yeah. So next thing is outliers. Okay, we have talked about missing data. Now outliers, what is outliers? Or now let's say I am collecting the data. Okay, and I asked the students about to mention their marks. Okay, now the thing is, whenever we collect the data, there might be some people who are not sincere about filling the application form, and they fill some random numbers, right? Now let's say you ask a person about his age. and he didn't even read what he's asking, and he mentions his age to be 150. Okay, let's say I'm collecting data in my college. Now I am quite sure that, yeah, any person cannot have 150 age in my college. How can a student have a age of 150 years? It's obvious that he has filled some random data, so it's not useful to me. So these are called outliers. So what are outliers? It's not necessary that that data is incorrect. Outliers doesn't always mean that. Okay, so yeah, so there are certain ways that how we can decide as per our problem statement that what are the outliers. Okay, so sometimes what we do, let's say I have a class of 100 students. Okay, now in 100 students only two students are like this, that who got the very less marks or who are fail. Rest of the class is very good. Everybody got the percentage above 70%, and there is one or two persons who have got less than 40%. Now when if I do the average of my class, that how's the performance of my class. Now because of those two students who have not performed very well in the class, my whole average will go down. So what I can do, that these two are outliers in my class, these are exception, these people never came to class, these people never studied, so I do not consider them in my analysis. What I will do, I will remove those two people and I will do the analysis on the remaining 98 students. Okay, so what I have done here, I have removed the outliers. Okay, outliers are the extreme values within a data set that have the potential to skew findings. Skew means it basically aligns the data in one direction. Okay, okay, so what's next? Leaving only a few extreme values in a data set can drastically alter statistical findings. Yeah, that's what it's saying, that if we do not take care of outliers, then your analysis will not be good. Okay, now let's say your 98 students have the marks above 60%, 70%, sorry, and only two students have marks below 50%, 40%. Then when you calculate the average, let's say it's coming out to be just for say for that matter, that's coming out to be 50. Now, if anybody from outside sees the performance of your class, he will see that, yeah, its performance of this class is very poor. Their students are getting only 50% of marks on an average. But actually, 98 students are getting the marks above 70%. There were only two students who have skewed the data in one direction. So it's better to do not consider those two students in our analysis, because they are the outliers. They are behaving abnormally. Okay, those are the exceptions, because they are not studying, they are not into studies, but remaining 98 are performing very well. Okay, so therefore it is important to eliminate such cases. Okay, one method for pinpointing means to detect the outliers, that how we will detect whether this is an outlier or not, that is pinpointing. So it's saying that one way to pinpoint the outliers is by standardizing these scores. We will see in further classes what is standardizing. It's very important concept, but now for now you do not need to take care of this. You just need to know that we need to remove the outliers from our data. So basically the thing is, you have collected the data, now you want to perform the analysis on that data, and before doing that analysis you will have to refine that data, to have to pre-process the data. Okay, you will have to take care of missing data, you will have to take care of outliers, and there might be a problem of formatting the data. Like we have seen that somebody have provided data in 2009, right, 2001, or somebody have performed entered the data in the format of 20 January 1994. So there could be various formats of a single data, then we have to reformat the whole data in a unique format, in a single format that I want to do analysis in my program. Okay, so I hope that you are clear now that what's important while we are doing all these analysis. Okay, so in further classes we will read various other concepts. We will meet in next class. Bye bye.